Welcome back to the Angels here on OOTP 25. We are here at June 1st of 2033, and our Los Angeles Angels are sitting at 32 and 22, which is good enough for a half game out of first place in the Pacific Division behind the Seattle Mariners. We did get off to a pretty rip-roaring start here in Anaheim. If we take a look at our team stats here, 18 and 7 in the month of April, came out of the gates just ready to bang. And we did indeed. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit of a tough month here in May, 14 and 15, but it's not like too awful. And I'm sure you can see just based off of what we're looking at right here, it's been the bats. The bats have been our bread and butter. We are number one in like pretty much everything. Third in extra base hits, second in walks. Now we are striking out a bit more than we have in previous seasons, but that is to be expected. I would think that we're going to be a team that strikes out, you know, maybe we can avoid being like the worst team for strikeouts, but we're not going to be like a top 5 team avoiding strikeouts because our big boppers who are going to be in our lineup here, key part of our team for many years to come, is going to be guys like Lesnar and Aquino, and they're just going to be striking out a lot. We can try to knock down their strikeout rates a bit through the dev lab. Hope they figure things out, but they're never going to be guys who are limiting strikeouts at that level. But that's okay because they hit a ton of home runs, as we will get into here when we go over the lineup in a bit. Now, our bats are clicking right now. We are scoring runs. We have the most runs scored in the American League, 294. The thing is, we're still scoring a lot more runs than we're giving up, but we're not really pitching that well as of right now. And we're really not even playing that great of defense either, which is definitely something that we need to rectify here because, like I've talked about plenty of times, I like to hang my hat on pitching and defense in this game, and this season has not been that way. We just have not pitched well. If we take a look at our pitching staff here, now we have had injuries. Eric Rose is almost back. He's on a rehab assignment here. He's had one game on his rehab assignment, so coming back from a oblique strain, which he did have one setback on. So he missed a pretty good chunk with the oblique strain, and I'm assuming probably just a combination of his career and then also the setback made him fragile. So that's not good. I talk about, like, obviously we traded away Broyhill and Rada because they were fragile. Fragile pitchers are like an entirely different fucking thing in my mind because those guys are like, you can't rely on them really at all. Like you just can't have a fragile pitcher. That's just a disaster. So, luckily he is a reliever who's a fragile pitcher, but he is a pretty big part of our bullpen here. Obviously, we're going to see what we can get out of him the rest of the season, but I don't think we're looking at him quite the same anymore here going forward. But as far as the rest of our pitching staff here, sort by innings pitched, the top of the rotation has been pretty fine, I would say. Yuri Perez has been solid enough. Now, neither him or Lampkin are pitching like aces, but they're giving us innings. They both have 60-ish innings. They both have like positive WARs, you like a little bit better, but like you're not going to complain about an above average ERA plus and FIP minus from Yuri Perez. Lampkin, pretty much the same, but his FIP's not as good. But I trust that those guys are going to figure things out as the season goes along. It's really the rest of the staff that is what we have to figure out because Healy just has not been what he was last season for us. Now, hopefully he can figure things out as the season goes on, but it has not been a good start here with an 80 ERA plus and a below league average FIP minus, or I guess above league. You know what I mean? He's not doing well with the FIP or the ERA. And then same with Mike Vasile. Him and Andrew Healy both have very similar numbers when it comes to the ERA and the FIP minus. Healy's giving up a bit too many home runs, I would say. 100%, 101.7 is just really not acceptable. His BABIP is very low though, which is good to see. He just needs the cut down in the home runs. And then you may notice that Mike Hoskins is currently in our rotation here. He's made one start in the rotation. He started the year in the bullpen. His one start, he went 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and it was a good outing. So Mike Hoskins, you're not complaining about that for his first career start, or not first career start. He got starts last year. Yeah, so not his first career start, but first start of the season. Hopefully he can tap into some of this more than Collar was able to, because we kind of need him to do that. And we're gonna hope he does, because you can only develop so much in the minor leagues. You can only just have a guy pitch at least 26 in the minor leagues and hope he taps into it for so long. So Hoskins, we wanted to see if he can develop in the big leagues here, and hopefully he's able to. Meanwhile, Amari Collar, his season was just was not going well at all. 9 starts in the big leagues, had a negative WAR, a 59 ERA plus, a 130 FIP minus, just an 8K minus walk. Not striking out a ton of guys. His walk rate was up. He was giving up way more home runs than usual. His BABIP was out of control. We just could not keep rolling him out there as a 5th starter every day, so we're giving Hoskins that chance, and Collar is going to be here in AAA trying to, I don't know, maybe dominate, maybe figure out some shit. But Amari Collar, he gave us 2 seasons of decent pitching, but right now he's on the outside looking in. As far as the rest of our bullpen goes, Chase Petty, unfortunately, has not really been able to duplicate his season from last year. Now, he is pitching enough to where he has a below, or a good FIP minus, but the ERA, he's been getting rocked a bit. Now, the BABIP is really high, so you would hope that stabilizes a bit, especially for a guy who is an extreme ground ball pitcher. I would probably say that he'll be fine. He'll be fine as the season goes on. Chris Livonis has actually been quite solid in a stopper role. With 33 innings, he's got 180 ERA plus and a 74 FIP minus. Keep doing the thing. 27.3 strikeout rate, 7 walk rate, a sub-1 home run rate. Keep doing the thing. William Schmidt, he's been really good as well, once again. Shamar here has also been really good. He was in the middle relief role. He is now in a stopper role, along with Livonis and Petty. And as you can see, he's on fire. He's been great this season. A 5.73 ERA plus, a 50 FIP minus, striking out a bunch of guys, not walking like anybody, and a 0 home run rate. Literally couldn't be any better. We love to see it. Mike Hoskins, we talked about. We're going to see how he does in the rotation, but he was very solid in the bullpen, as you can see by his numbers so far this season. Obviously wasn't striking out a ton of guys, but that's not his game. And then Kaneda doing his thing where he's a single inning appearance guy, even less than a single inning. He has less innings than games he's appeared in. So he's had a couple 1 or 2 batter appearances, I'd imagine, but he's lights out when he pitches. It's just we did not expect this to be the type of guy he was for us. And then since Hoskins is in the rotation and we needed a lefty in the bullpen, remember Jose Lopez, folks? Well, he's back. He spent last year in Houston, was really bad. The Yankees signed him in the offseason, and they waived him on opening day. And I was like, hey, he's got options. Let's bring him back. He's on a cheap 1-year deal. We bring him back, and then what do you know? We need a lefty. He's down in AAA tearing things up. So we're like, hey, let's bring him up. He's been up for 4 games, 3 innings. It has not gone well with a 3 home run per 9. But, it's 3 innings. We'll see if things stabilize. If not, we've got plenty of other lefties in the minors that we can call up. And then we also sent down Mr. What's his name? We literally just made this move. Josh Tackett here, the former number 1 overall pick we got from the Rockies. His season did not get off to a great start. 37 innings pitched, a bad ERA, a bad FIP. Just wasn't really getting it done. He was striking out a decent amount of guys, I guess, for what he is, but he just was walking way too many guys, getting himself into too much trouble, and we just could not keep playing him in the bullpen. So we sent him down, and we called up somebody who we picked up on a minor league deal right before the season started in Jackson Bowmeister, a right-handed pitcher out of FSU. Ground baller, can go deep into games. He can give you some starter options if you want that, but he's in the bullpen for us. Good stuff, decent movement. Obviously, the control is going to be an issue, but he's fine. He's a reliever. And then he's got 4 solid pitches here with the fastball, slider, curveball, and changeup that he can mix in there. And he could, as you can see, he was performing very, very well in the AAA rotation. So I figured, hey, we needed a guy who can give us multi-innings as like a long man. Let's give this guy a shot and send down Tackett. Now, flipping things over to our bats, which, like I said, have been our bread and butter here to start this season. We have been tearing the cover off the ball here in Anaheim, and it's these 4 guys right here. Nolan Schanuel, folks, he is pissed that we did not give him an extension, and he had to sign he had to accept a QO to stay here because he has a 3 WAR and a 203 WRC plus here on June 1st. What can you even say? 12 home runs, 9 doubles, 41 runs, walking a ton, not striking out at all. He's almost hitting 400. He's hitting 396 right now, 479 OBP, 643 slug. Obviously, the BABIP is running very hot, but insane start to the year here for Nolan Schanuel at first base. Chris Lesnar has also been absolutely insane. He's got a 2 WAR here, 170 WRC plus, 5 home runs, 18 home runs through the first 2 months of the season, driven in 48 runs as well. He's striking out a ton, but, like I said, him and Aquino, they're going to strike out a ton. It's whatever. He's getting on base a ton as well with a 381 OBP. Also running a bit high of a BABIP, but it's fine. He's doing what he's doing. Chris Lesnar, he's mashing, folks. Logan O'Hoppe, he's being Logan O'Hoppe. He's got a 2 WAR, 140 WRC plus, 10 home runs, 5 doubles. He's being Logan O'Hoppe, walking a ton, not striking out a ton. That's what him and Schanuel do. That's what they're continuing to do here into their 30s. And then the other side of our offense between Lesnar and Aquino is also doing the thing where he's got a 1.5 WAR, 138 WRC plus with 7 doubles and 16 home runs. We've got 4 guys in double-digit home runs. I mean, it's just we have ourselves quite an offense here, quite an offense going on. And then you got Jeff Van Wingarden, who's a very fine complementary piece to this team. 1.3 WAR, 132 WRC plus, 8 doubles, 8 home runs. You'll take that. He's walking a decent amount. He's not striking out less than 20% of the time. Hitting 290. He's playing well. He's playing some good defense as well. Fletcher Clancy got off to a bit of a hot start in April, but then cooled off in May. But he's fine. He's there for his glove. He's got a bat that doesn't strike out a ton. Obviously not going to walk a ton, but he makes a bunch of contact, and he'll be pretty streaky. But I believe this bat is pretty good, and so far it has been solid with a 4.5 CR in center field. So we'll take that. Juan Padilla, you can see here his plate appearances are a lot lower than everybody else because he got off to a really hot start with a 131 WRC plus, 4 home runs, 4 doubles. But he is just recently back after a short 4-game rehab assignment because he was out with chronic back soreness for 4 weeks. So that's unfortunate that he missed some time, but he's back now, so things are all fine. Juan Soto here also missed a little bit of time. He's had a few nagging day-to-day injuries so far this season. He had knee soreness, he had a sore hamstring, he had a sore knee. He is getting up there in age. He spent some time on the IL because the sore hamstring happened while he had the knee soreness, so I was like, okay, let's just throw him the IL for like a week or whatever, and then he came back. So he didn't miss too much time, but he did get off to a really, really slow start. I should say slow for him. He was still walking a ton, but he wasn't really hitting at all, and he's really started to turn things around here. He's Juan Soto. We're not worried about Juan Soto, folks. And then, like I was saying, we cannot expect Alvaro Dowd to be doing this for us every season. It's just not realistic. If he came out and did this last year, I'd have been like, yeah, that's what I expect. He's got a 72 WRC plus, maybe a little bit better than I would like, but the thing is that his defense has actually kind of taken a hit for whatever reason. His range is down to 65, which is very weird to me. It doesn't say that his defense dropped, but this was a 70. The shortstop here is still 70, but I know his range was a 70. He's still playing a decent enough shortstop, but it's not like light years. It's not like it's not like incredible like it was last year so far, but hopefully things can stabilize as the season goes on. But yeah, he's playing shortstop for us. Shalowski's been a backup. He's fine. Dave Peter, not having the Dave Peter usual backup season, but he's a backup, whatever. Chase Brunson been whatever. LaFontaine played a bit when Soto was out, but he's whatever. And then Gutierrez is a backup. Has been not great. But he was not great to start last year as well, and then kind of rebounded and did end up getting a decent amount of plate appearance. But his role has been severely cut into here on our team. As you can see, he's had some years where he put up like 350 plus 400 plate appearances, where he was, the short side platoon guy doing decent numbers. But now he's more of just a straight bench player, and has been valuable in that role. But you're definitely viable to like have a season like this when you're getting that little amount of playing time. So basically, our bench is not doing well, but our starting lineup is. Shawnwell, Lesnar, Ohapi, Aquino, Van Wingarden, Padilla, Soto. They're tearing the cover off the ball. They're doing what you want. They're doing what you want bats to do. They're not the issue with this team. Second place, we're not going to complain about that. Half game out of first place, but I would like to see the pitching improve here as the rest of the season goes on. Without further ado, let's just hop right into the first-year player draft here. We have the 32nd overall pick. The top 5 is Cubs, Rays, Oaks, Nationals, and Rockies. Let's just hop into it here and see who the Cubs take number 1 overall here in the 2033 draft. They take John Porky Klepak, something like that, from Wright State University. Shout out Bob Pollard. Shout out. Lefty center fielder. Definitely more of a corner guy, but I mean, definitely my type of guy. 80 speed, high work ethic, huge contact bat, big gap power with some eye. Love that. My type of hitter. All right, so we are here at pick number 32 in the first round, and we have quite a bit of interesting work ethic intelligence guys here. I had this accidentally just the work ethic filter, and I was like, man, there's a lot of work ethic guys here. And then I took it off, and I'm just like, there's still a lot of these dudes here. There's 2 Jeremys, which you gotta love. One of them even has high. Now, they are both high school pitchers, which I'm obviously going to lean away from taking. But, I mean, these guys do look pretty damn good. But, a lot of these 70 guys, all of these 70 guys are high school players. And I'm kind of leaning towards not taking a high school guy here. There's this guy, 60 grade college starter. Now, one thing I will say that's standing out to me immediately here is that we've taken a lot of these high control college starters, like Collar and Hoskins, and so far they have not really hit for us. Now, should that really factor into my decision making? Probably not. If I see a guy who I think could be good, we should take him. But if I'm at this point, if I'm seeing your guy who has, your stuff is going to be pretty mediocre, and it's like your control needs to hit for you to be able to be like an elite guy, I'm kind of leaning towards not taking a guy like that because we failed on it. Hoskins is still in he still has a chance to not fail, but Collar, did not become the dude we thought he was going to be. And this Zaire Benefield guy is indeed the best college player available out of all positions. There's also this reliever who's definitely not actually Kyle Farnsworth's kid, but in lore he's Kyle Farnsworth's kid. And obviously he's a reliever, so I wouldn't be taking him anyways. Who's this guy? Wiley Howitt, University of Waterloo. Not really interested in that guy. None of these 50 grade college arms stand out to me. So what about the bats? He's a first baseman. We don't need a guy like this, especially if he's a college player that you think you can get to the big leagues fairly soon. Yeah, none of these college guys are standing out to me as somebody we should be prioritizing over the high school guys. So I feel like we should be just taking whoever we think is the best available here, which might end up just being a high school arm. I mean, there is this high school bat who he's a possible signee though because he wants to go to Kent State. Classic. The guy from LA wants to go to Kent State. You know, you see that all the time for sure. He is a ground ball hitter as well, which I do not like. Our scout thinks that we should take Vicente Rojas, who is a he's a corner outfielder. He's going to be like a poor corner outfielder, I would say as well. It's all bat with this guy. Now, I will say the bat does look like it can be quite good. Vicente Rojas here, from New York, committed to the University of Southern Mississippi. From New York, but he grew up in New Jersey. And he's committed to the University of Southern Mississippi, which I will say does have a good baseball program. So, you know, maybe that's not too out of the ordinary. They are that level of baseball program that would be like, you know, we're trying to recruit guys from all over because we've got the sauce. And when it comes to these high school pitchers, you know, when it comes to the starters, like you got the two Jeremys and you've got Kevin Cherry, who are the guys. You've also got this Butch Trimble guy, but he's more of like that control finesse type guy that I don't really want to take right now. And like obviously I don't like high school pitchers as I've talked about a billion times, but I think that's just the best available that we have here and hope we can hit on one of these guys. And when it comes to when I'm looking at this, the three guys I prefer are either Cherry or one of the two Jeremys. Now, this Jeremy only has work ethic but not intelligence. He does have an interesting profile because he's got the stuff that could be 65. As you can see here, he's got 65 stuff, 55 movement, which is better than Kevin Cherry. They both have similar home run suppression, but then Cherry is projected to have a little bit more control, and then Youngblood is projected to have a bit more stamina. And also, I should mention that Kevin Cherry is a sidearmer, which those guys tend to be much better against one side than the other, which, you know, maybe not the end of the world if you're a right-hander, or maybe it is. You know, you don't want to be a right-hander just getting destroyed by every lefty you face, but I think even though Cherry is high, it's not like Youngblood is bad. He's also durable. He's normal. Okay. I think Youngblood's our guy. Youngblood. Jeremy Major Youngblood. It's Youngblood, I'm assuming. But I think he's our guy here. He's got a really interesting pitch mix with a ton of pitches that all look like they could be pretty good, the fastball being the weakest of the bunch, but still. The 65 stuff, the 65 potential stuff we love to see. Good home run suppression, good control. Now, obviously, high school arm. You're going to be waiting for a bit for this guy to develop, but I just think he's the best available here. He's the guy I like the most. And I think we're just going to rock and roll here with Jeremy Youngblood. And what do you know? We've got our supplemental pick for losing Zach Neto, and we can just take another one of these guys if we want because they're going to be the best available here. I might as well just double up. I might as well just take Kevin Cherry here. Why not? Let it fly. Because I like him better than Butch Trimble and Jeremy Kennedy because, I mean, now, Kennedy's 6.5. He's got the 6.5 in the bonus, and then Cherry is slot. But he's got the better stuff. It's like Kennedy does have the 70 home run suppression, but his movement and stuff are only 55. Whereas Cherry's got the 55 movement, and his home run suppression's only 5 less, but he's got the 60 stuff. I think we just prefer Cherry. Yeah. You know, doubling up on high school pitchers, probably not the smartest thing. Like, what if we take a look at all hitters here? And it's like this guy, he's the impossible guy anyways. Like, this guy's got an interesting bat, but he's not fast. He's a corner outfielder, and he's a mediocre one at best. We've got a billion guys like that. And better defenders, too. Now, there is this guy. This guy who's a 50-grade college player. Now, the thing is, he's a college player with 80-grade range at shortstop. but he's all or nothing when it comes to the bat. He hits home runs, but does literally nothing else, and does not hit home runs consistently, obviously. And he's also a college guy who's not really that developed. Although maybe he is because he's just developed, but he doesn't really have a high ceiling. So this guy's not like a first round pick to me, or a supplemental round pick to me. This guy's a guy we take like later on in the draft. And even if we miss out on him, the 80 grade range is like it's a wooga wooga wooga. You see that, but the bat makes it to where he's definitely not somebody I'm like desperate to get. And then there are no guys that have like super standout gloves here, and of these 65 guys, which aren't even really that standout, none of these guys are people we're trying to take like right now. Yeah, I think we're just going to do it. I think we're just going to take Kevin Cherry here, the sidearm ground baller out of the Bronx, Jersey City to the Bronx. We're going to do it. He's got the high work ethic, high intelligence. Let's rock and roll. And now we're here in actual round 2, and a couple of those interesting high-end bats are still here in Moody. He's impossible, so we'd have to give him a ton of money, which we do have a decent amount of money to spend. Because I did crank up our draft budget, or I guess maybe it's 11 million, so it's a bit higher, but it would still take a lot of money to get that guy to sign. So I don't think I quite want to do that. But this Sloan guy is still here. Now he is, like I said, just a straight up corner outfield bat. He's never gonna play center for you. He's like a mediocre left fielder, but he does have an interesting bat profile. No speed. Lefty bat. I mean, he looks like he could be good. Some pretty big discrepancies between what my scout and OSA thinks. You've also got this Ken Fine guy, who is another guy who he looks like this Moody guy where you look at these ratings and you're like, those are pretty good. Now, obviously, Moody's impossible, so we don't want to like spend a shit ton of money on him. But Ken Fine is not impossible, but like Moody, he's a ground ball hitter, which is like, you've got 65 power, but you're a ground ball hitter, and you're a first baseman. You've got even less versatility than the other guy, because at least Moody here, or no, not Moody, at least Sloan, you're like, you could be a mediocre two positions. You could be a mediocre left or right fielder. And then, we could also play you at first if you really wanted to. Whereas Ken Fine, he's a first baseman and that's it. We've also still got this this college arm here, who's a bit older, but he is already quite developed. And now, I talk about a lot about how in baseball drafts, you don't really want to be drafting for need. But I mean, pitching is our need. I feel like we have plenty of bats coming up through the system right now. Our bats are set. We've got guys coming up. We've got the system is plentiful of guys that we can have perform in the big leagues with the hits. All right, with the bats. What we need is the slingers. We need the slingers here in our system. We need to get that archery boost. Killing a barbarian, little Civ 6 joke for you. But I'm leaning towards possibly taking this guy, because I was even looking at this guy in our first round pick, and he's still here in round 2. I feel like it would be silly not to at least entertain the idea of taking him now. Like I said, he is the guy who looks like he's going to have some pretty mediocre stuff, and it really relies on him being like perfect control, which a bit 4-5 starter bust potential for me. And our scout does think we should take Chris Sloan, who is just like the best available bat. Let's just do it. Let's just take Chris Sloan. Let's just meet the man here and take Chris Sloan. So yeah, those are our first 3 picks of the draft here. We'll move things on to round 3. And we've still got some dudes available. Like Benefield's still here. Our scout thinks we should take Ken Fine, who I'm not a fan of this guy, man. I'm not. I don't like this guy. I mean, the bat could be good. But I just don't think he's. I don't know. Maybe I should. He is super far away from the big leagues, so I don't know. Maybe by the time he develops, but he's a ground ball hitter. There's even a college or a high school pitcher here from Berlin, New Jersey, who is interesting to me because he's got the decent stuff potential with really everything good potential. Another guy who's going to throw a ton of pitches, has the really good personality class, ground baller, which I always talk about. I love. But he's an impossible signee. So it's like if I'm going to go after an impossible signee high school guy, do I want to go after Daryl Augustine here, who he's 19? Is he just like an overager? I guess so. I was curious if he was like a guy who got taken last year and like didn't sign. But yeah, so there's this guy who I think could be pretty good. But if I'm going to take a high school impossible signee guy and like give him a shit ton of money, it's probably somebody like Tanner Moody, even if he is a ground ball hitter. Because I mean, 60 range. You're still like a high end corner outfielder. You're not going to be a center fielder for me with 60 range, especially if you're a 60 range 50 center fielder. And if we sort this by college players, it's really just like Benefield here, that Howitt guy I was talking about, who looks like decent but not anything too special. And then there's like a couple decent like bat first guys who are like okay. This guy's like a fifth starter type. This guy's a closer, and then it drops down to 45s, which, you can find some decent guys in 45s, but, like, nobody I really want to take right now, I would assume. Yeah, none of these guys are jumping out to me as somebody that I would want to have, like, on my team. Like, this guy is okay, but probably preferred somebody. I would probably prefer to take Benefield if I'm going to go. So, yeah, if we go the college route, it's just Benefield. Even if he is, like, a fourth, fifth starter type. It's another arm to get in the system. Where if we go high school, it's probably just taking a different arm, to be honest. Because it's like if I go high school bats, it's Moody, who we would have to give a shit ton of money, Ken Fine, who I just don't think is really worth going for. There's Dudley, who's another guy who can't play defense. Frazier, who can't play defense. Vince Helm, who's a catcher who can only play the outfield. We can play the outfield really well, honestly. Okay, he's really slow. He's like literally the slowest man on planet Earth. He's like a second baseman. Durable, I do like that. Can't really play corners even, near corner. Why are all these guys such shitty fielders? Like, who's this guy? Chinchilla here. Yeah, I mean, good glove, but he can't hit. It's just one or the other. There's nobody that, I mean, we are in round 3 now, obviously. But, I mean, I feel like even early on in the draft, there wasn't really any guys who could do both. Not a lot of multitaskers here these days. The youth, they're slacking, folks. But yeah, I think we're just gonna take the college arm, Mr. Benefield here. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna take Benefield, 9 fingers Benefield here in round 3. We'll meet his demand. That's no big deal. Boom. Move things on to round 4. And we still got some options. Fine still here. Our scat wants us to take Ken Fine still. I don't want to. I don't think this guy is gonna be like an actual good bat with this ground ball hitter profile. I just, maybe I'm too hung up on that, but how I'm looking at that is I just don't think he's gonna be that good of a bat. This guy's impossible signee. This guy's gonna have like a shit BABIP. His BABIP's already developed at 17, and it's like no thank you. Same with this guy, another developed BABIP. What is that about? Why are these high school guys with developed BABIP, but not him? But Fine and Pimentel here. Developed BABIP already. This Fidel Chinchilla guy is still here. And it's like, he's a flawed player. I'm very aware. He's a very flawed player, but he's interesting. This is round 4. You're starting to take the guys who, like, you think have flaws. And I think really at this point it comes down to, do we want to take Ken Fine, who is going to have to outplay his ground ball hitter type, Or do we want to take somebody like, because like Frazier is impossible here. This guy doesn't really interest me. And then you have like this group of 55s and 50, and like Chinchilla is a 50, but there's a lot of 50s here. So if we go range, 65 range, highest overall potential of the 65 ranges, or no, there's some other guys here. I think we're just going to opt with my scout here, and we're going to take Ken Fine. You know, nobody else really, like, if this bat does develop, he could be really good, but we're just going to go with the scout here. We're going to take Ken Fine. That's our round 4 pick. Move things on round 5. Scout thinks we should take Jeff Schrader, who we will definitely not be taking. I mean, the best overall potential guy is this reliever still, who does have some good personality class. He's got 80 stuff potential. He's going to give up some home runs, though. His movement's not the greatest, but he is going to strike out a ton of guys with this changeup cutter combo he has. But he is just like a straight-up one-inning reliever guy. He's also going to a high school in Voorhees, New Jersey, which is some real sicko, like, your parents are fucking loaded type shit. If you know anybody who lives in Voorhees, New Jersey, that's because their parents are, like, professional athletes. Their parents are, like, lawyers getting the scummiest people off of shit, you know. That's who lives in Voorhees, New Jersey. And for me, I think what it comes down to here is it's either Tim Haddocks here, who's like a corner outfield type, not very good personality, but he looks like he could have like a decent power eye bat. I don't love that the gap and the BABIP aren't really developed at all. And then there's also Chinchilla here, who I've talked about, a very flawed bat, but he has a little bit of pop, and he could be a pretty decent infielder for you, as well as like a decent corner outfielder as well. I'll give you like a decent like power utility type here in round 5. And then if we sort by work ethic, then somebody like Zach Stollard kind of jumps out to me, because he's got the high work ethic, loyalty, low financial ambition. He's never going to be a great defender. He can play some first base, really. Not even really in a corner in the outfield. But he's a decent-ish enough bat with high work ethic. And then you also have somebody like there's some high school pitchers here, like JP Lyons, who doesn't really stand out to me. This high work ethic intelligence guy from Canada who's committed to Texas Tech. Hell yes, wreck him. Love that Texas Tech is recruiting in Canada. But once again, another guy who just doesn't really look that great to me. Or then you also have this high guy who is another first base type who has even less of an interesting bat, because this screams to me like he's going to be like an Alvaro Dowd type bat where he can make a bunch of contact, but it's more so like weak contact with the avoid K, and you like really need this to like if this doesn't reach if all 3 of these don't reach the peak of what they think they could be here, this guy's useless. Are there any like 45 potential guys who stand out to me? Like this guy. This guy's bat already stands out to me better than any of the other guys, because he's got the good power, the good speed. He's got a good enough defense to play like second for you. Maybe not really a left field, but he's a high leader, work ethic. I like this guy way better than like really any of these other bats. Even Chinchilla, to be honest. Maybe I like Chinchilla a bit more because of his defense. And when it comes to starters who are available with high work ethic, it's JP Lyons, who I said is not interesting. If every single one of these things reaches its peak potential here, he's like a mediocre 5th starter. And then LeGros, he's probably more of a reliever, to be honest. I just don't think this profile is going to like do anything in a rotation. And then none of these other guys like stand out to me as like reliever types either. Or as starter types, rather. I mean, Pimentel does, but he's an impossible signee, and it's like I don't think we're going to be giving him like a huge bonus to sign. Maybe we try. Nothing else really stands out to me here, so let's just go Pimentel here, and let's just see what he would want. here in round 5. Move things on to round 6. Is Chinchilla still there? He is indeed. So we're going to take Chinchilla, round 6. Move things on round 7. Scout thinks we should take Mike Wills. I'll pass. I'll pass. Even though he is a Wisconsin guy, we'll pass. Alright, so we have gone through and done the 2033 draft. I believe we left off after taking Chinchilla. So we took Youngblood, Cherry, Sloan, Benefield, Fine, Pimentel, Chinchilla. And then we, from there, I should mention also that we did indeed offer 7.25 to Pimentel. I probably should have talked about this as I was doing this, but it said that he needed an offer significantly above 6.5 to sign. So I was like, hey, we'll give you like a 7.25. And if he signs, cool. If he doesn't, whatever. But hopefully he signs and we get ourselves another interesting pitching prospect here in the system. But back here to this page, with the 7th round, we took a potential, like, really good second base defense guy who has, like, an okay-ish bat if this develops. Just a lot of green overall, like a well-rounded bat. Out of the Carlos Beltran Academy, 18-year-old out of Puerto Rico. You know, he's fine, he's whatever. And then we took Tim Haddix, this corner outfield bat with some decent power eye potential. After him, we took another high school bat with some decent potential, no defensive home aside from first base, really. But, you know, high school guy, hopefully he can develop. Maybe we get ourselves a decent bat in the system. This guy, he can play some second base for you. Another interesting high school bat. Round 11, we took a catcher with 60 framing, high work ethic, intelligence, and adaptability. Just, you know, do some catching, help catch our minor league prospects. You know, need those guys in the system, so we took him. Round 12, we took this guy who I think has a very, very good glove. It's pretty obvious. Has a really good glove. Hitting is lacking, but, you know, play some defense for us in the minors. Maybe you can get a big development jump at some point. Who knows? He's in our system. Round 13, we took this guy. Good power, or good contact bat with decent gap power. Strong arm, but, you know, he's whatever. The draft class kind of fell off around, like, round 5, I would say. So 6 from there on is a lot of just, you know, well, you know, I guess this guy's fine. And then in round 14, we took this guy who is fragile, which I really don't like. But, I mean, at this point in the draft, it was just like, you know, this guy's got 80 stuff. Could be like a sick, nasty lefty reliever if he develops. You know, never going to be like a too good reliever for you, but, you know, if he develops, this guy's pretty good, so I was like, hey, might as well take a chance on Jonathan Sewell here with his 80s stuff. We also took this guy, CJ Frush, who's another, you know, high school reliever type guy. This guy, also high school reliever, 80 grade stuff. Then we also took this guy, who's out of a college I've never even heard of in Mississippi. Decent stuff, decent two-pitch mix. He's whatever. A lot of just kind of like, you know, these guys could be decent relievers someday. Get him in the system, see what happens. Another guy who's he is a lefty, high work ethic, loyalty. Maybe we can get a TCR bump at some point. Who knows? And then we took this center fielder, more of definitely a corner guy, high work ethic, whatever. And then round 20, we took this catcher because he had 60 framing and he could catch our prospects. So that was our draft here in 2033. Like I said, felt completely off of the map after round 5, but it is what it is. And that was our draft.